Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we'll be talking about casework practice in refugee groups. So first, let me talk about social casework. What is social casework? The social caseworker is oriented towards the principle of social justice. It provides help to every needy and disabled person. Its ultimate aim is to establish harmonious relationship between the client and the society to which the individuals belong. Social work involving direct consideration of the problems, needs, and adjustments of the individual case. So next we'll be talking about the objectives of social casework. So under which I've put down some points which I'll be talking about. That is to understand and solve the internal problems of the individuals, to strengthen one's self-esteem, prevention of problems in social functioning, development of resources to enhance social functioning. Next, I'll be talking about the refugee groups. So, who are refugee groups? Refugees are people who have fled war, violence, conflict, or persecution and have crossed an international border to find safety in another country. They often have had to flee with little more than clothes on their back, leaving behind homes, possessions, jobs, and loved ones. So, the problems faced by the refugees, the difficulties they face do not end upon their arrival. Once resettled, refugees may face stressors in four major categories, that is, traumatic stress, resettlement stress, acculturation stress, and isolation stress. So, traumatic stress, this occurs when an individual experiences an intense event that threatens or causes harm to his or her emotional and physical well-being. Refugees can experience through war and persecution, displacement from their home, flight and migration, poverty, etc. Then, resettlement stress is where these stressors that refugees, children, and families experience as they try to make a new life for themselves, like financial stressors, difficulties finding adequate housing, difficulties finding employment, loss of community support, lack of access of resources, and transportation difficulties. Acculturation stress, it's where they try to navigate between their new culture and their culture of origin, like conflicts between children and parents over new and old cultural views, conflicts with peers related to cultural misunderstanding, the necessity to translate for family members who are not fluent in English, problems trying to fit in at school, struggles to form an integrated identity, including elements of their new culture and their culture of origin. Isolation stress, it's where these families experience as minorities in a new country. Some of the examples like feeling of loneliness, loss of social support network, discrimination, experience of harassment from peers, adults, or law enforcement, experiences with others who do not trust the refugee children and family, feelings of not fitting in with others, loss of social status. So, models of social casework. So, under the models of social casework, I've spoken about behavioral modification. So what is behavioral modification? Behavior modification is generally thought as the process of changing patterns of human behavior using various motivational techniques. There are strategies that may improve the effectiveness of behavior modification. Many people make New Year resolutions, but it's estimated that 80% of those people no longer follow their resolution by the end of the first month. Behavior modification through extinction, psychology generally focuses on changing association with the undesired or desired behaviors to make it more likely that an individual will stick with the goals. So, next I'll be talking about the techniques of behavior modification, under which positive reinforcement and positive punishment, negative reinforcement and negative punishment. So what is positive reinforcement and positive punishment? In psychology, generally, positive reinforcement adds a stimulus that reinforces good behavior. Positive punishment, on the other hand, describes an added stimulus that decreases the likelihood of an undesired behavior occurring. And next, I'll be talking about the negative reinforcement and negative punishment. Negative reinforcement can occur when you remove a stimulus to increase a desired behavior. Negative punishment can occur when a stimulus is taken away to reduce the frequency of an undesired behavior occurring. So, under negative reinforcement and negative punishment, there are some points which are looked into. That is shaping. The process of shaping can reinforce behaviors that are closer to a desired behavior. Then fading. Fading is usually thought as the process of gradually shifting one stimulus to another. Then chaining. Behavior chains can link individuals' behavior to form a larger behavior. By breaking down a task into its simplest step, a complex behavior may become more consistently achievable. And lastly, under this is extinction. A behavior can become extinct when a stimulus or reinforcer is removed. So next, I'll be talking about effects of behavior modification in refugee groups. So under this, refugee camps are under researched and insufficiently understood behavior setting. During their long existence, they have become part of the larger communities of their host countries, with the new appearance that more resembles permanent housing and combines residential environments with social space as essential camp elements. However, a camp spatial environment is not only a physical container of social life but also the inherited form of human behavior. The majority of refugees around the world live in a semi permanent state of high uncertainty. In communities known as protracted refugee camps, globally displaced has globally displacement has reached unpredictable levels. However, the refugees to their existence has not changed significantly since the Second World War. In our daily activities, we move between behavior modification using specific objectives and following a program of activities bounded by rules within temporal spatial coordinates. Human behavior is thus shaped by its model rather than by personal characteristics. So, the primary concern of designers and planners of any space should be the occupant's existing pattern of behavior. Behavior modification models are bounded by implicit rules. Three specified mechanisms allow the essential activities of the model to be carried out smoothly and consistently to satisfy the participants and reduce threats to the existence of the model. Most refugees spend long periods in exile in low and middle income countries, restricted to camps or other challenging conditions in urban centers. Governments still see refugee camps as temporary places, although they are actually future cities. In the Middle East, for instance, refugee camps were established as if they were simply storage facilities for people, whereas the refugees were building cities. Refugees generally face greater uncertainty than local citizens. The particular circumstances leading to relocation vary greatly, as do circumstances of arrival. But common to many refugees is the perspective of starting again. Human capacity to envision a new start is rooted in experiences of the past or present within displaced populations. The emerging situation may depart from previous experiences in many ways. Various behavior changes are available for developing behavioral modification or interventions. The design process generally starts by mapping the current pathway towards the desired outcome. In the early stages of planning and intervention, a behavioral analysis may be used to map the physical routes, barriers, and drivers of optimal engagement with these behaviors. However, techniques are used, behavioral interventions must be accompanied by rigorous assessment methods. It is essential to establish the effectiveness of an intervention before rolling it out. So next I'll be talking about, that is, employment, employment rights, recruitment processes, education, learning the language of the other country. So employment, under which employment is one of the most important issues in refugee groups. Gainful employment can increase economic independence, foster interactions between refugees and host population, strengthen language skills, and develop self-esteem and self-reliance. Under employment rights, that is where as individuals granted refugee statuses are permitted to work in any profession and at any skill level. Asylum seekers, on the other hand, are not permitted to work. A critical problem faced by people in this situation is the time taken to grant the refugee status. Recruitment processes. Refugees and asylum seekers often face multiple layers of discrimination. Unsurprisingly, forced migration can lead people to fall behind in education or work experience, or both. Racial discrimination may compound this disadvantage. Moreover, more than 80% of the world's refugees are women and their dependent children, who tend to be victims to racial and gender discrimination. Education. The educational needs of refugees are highly varied. Some may arrive with very little prior education, others may be highly qualified, but find that their qualifications are not recognized, while the specific needs of individuals will be very different. Learning the language of the other country. Learning the language of the other host country is one of the most important behaviors of refugees to pursue. It is considered a facilitator of refugee groups is nearly all measurement model. Learning the host language increases refugees' ability to engage successfully with public services, leading to a range of benefits including better health and willing and well-being. So in conclusion, the behavior modification model can be effective in refugee groups as it provides a structural approach to addressing and changing behaviors that may be hindering the well-being and integration of refugees. Through positive reinforcement and clear goal setting, this model can help refugees adapt to their new environments, learn new skills, and overcome trauma related challenges. However, it's essential to consider the cultural sensitivity and individualized needs of refugees when implementing such a model, as one size does not fit all. Additionally, collaboration with experienced professionals and community leaders is crucial for success.